it is.
Okay. Observation feedback from IEP meetings again. What is the most, what went well with last week's meeting? Was that Quion?
So for Quion, I think just mom's feeling of support from us and that she trusts that we are in good hands and doing what we need to do. I think that I became more fluid with the stopping and the action step of making sure that I have those phrases. I think they were consistent. There's one part I still need to get consistent on with the medical part when they sign up for the Medicaid. So that part I'm still like always a little iffy. But I think that became better. So that's the area I think that I need to like make sure I get a phrase for. I just never know like how to bring that up because I don't know if everyone has Medicaid.
Yes.
Or, like how.
So what I say, which you can like type this and adjust it as however you would want to. I always say when we get there, I say, so this is the last thing. It's optional. You may choose to sign it if you want to, or you may decline. We get reimbursed for some of the services that we provide for students. If you check yes and choose to sign, then you are simply saying that it's okay for me to share with the state that we provide services to get some reimbursement. I don't even talk about Medicaid, even though it has, though, like I have everybody sign it, even if they don't have Medicaid, just because it's like too much of like a whole thing to be like, do you have Medicaid? And then they have questions about like, but it's not really anything, so I just don't even like go down that.
So this is the last thing. This is optional. You can choose to sign it. We get reimbursed for some of the expenses, and by signing it, I didn't get that far.
You are saying it's okay for us to share with the state that Solomon receives special education services, and then he will be included in the number of students that we're reimbursed for. Whatever, obviously not Solomon, but whatever.
Yeah, I just thought like receiving special education services, and it's okay to share it. Oh, I already got that, and it's okay to share with the state. So, Ken, you are saying it's okay for us to share with the state that Blink is receiving special education services, and
then we will be reimbursed for some of the services that we provide. And then like sometimes they'll read through it and be like, oh, I don't have Medicaid, and I'll be like, okay, then there's not really any reason for you to sign it.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So what do you think is the most challenging part of it right now?
The meeting or just like IEPs?
The meeting.
The meeting. One, going in and sometimes not knowing all of the backgrounds, like the psychological and then their speech. So like finding time to make sure that I'm reading those, that when I am getting to those parts, I know like what to say and not skimming it at the moment and trying to figure that out.
Sure.
And those are the pretty much, those are the three spaces I think that were really, I need to just make sure that I get some phrases for and have a chance to preview.
I think the thing that is going to be like your main action step, I mean, I guess you only have 2 more tomorrow, but then when we do it in April, it's going to be pacing. I think they need to be like faster. Because like Quion's, both of them I think were just, they took a little bit longer, and like you are going through everything in a lot of detail, which is good, but like we just don't have enough time to do all of them in such a detailed way. Do you feel that at all, or did it feel?
No, I thought that was normal because I do go through.
How long did it take? How long did each of them take?
So Quion's was about, I want to say 35 minutes. Lisbeth, I'm not sure because I came in
right
like toward the end. And then I stayed for like 10 minutes for her, then had to go to elective.
Usually from like start to finish of the actual IEP, I spend like 15 to 20 minutes just like going through all of the IEP stuff, and then anything in addition to that is like a separate conversation or like an additional conversation, or is time built in for like if they're late to the meeting. But I try to keep it to like 15 to 20 minutes. So do you have any sense of like where you could gain time?
No, I'll have a better sense after I do this,
Sure.
meeting, just adjusting to like
Mhm.
what to, because previously I go through everything, like even
Mhm.
goals, so
Right.
that was new, not
Right,
going through
right,
goals
right,
and
right.
things like that.
Mhm.
So once I see, and then I think I can
Mhm.
determine from there. Now, try to
Yeah.
keep in mind pacing.
I have a couple ideas too, and then like we can check in again after tomorrow to see like how it's going. But I don't ever ask them if they have questions like throughout it. Like I just say at the beginning, like stop me if you have questions, and then I go through and like leave enough time for them to stop me if they have a question, or like I'll ask if it really seems like they're unclear about something, but I don't ask if they have a question like after every section that we go through. And then the other is, I think you should pick like, pick in advance which areas you're gonna give examples of things, cause like something that's really good that you do really naturally is like when you're explaining the modifications and you're saying pre-call, so like this means that the teacher will say, Quion, I'm coming to you for number 5, and then, you know, he has a minute to gather his thoughts. Like you do a really good job of explaining all of those things. I would just do it only for like a couple, like just not for every single thing. I would pick like I'm gonna do it for pre-call, I'm gonna do it for I don't know, cold call, whatever the things are, and then give examples of those, but like not give examples of everything. And then I think just like keep in mind also economy of language, since that's something that's like related to your instruction too. Like if there wasn't anything specific about it that I had, but I think like keep that in mind for this as well, just to say everything in as few words as possible. So maybe let's practice like one section from one of tomorrow's, and then we can take it from there. Which one do you want to do, Chelsea or Nevaeh?
Either one is fine. Well, I have Nevaeh open, so.
What, do you want to pick a section that's, I don't know, particularly difficult or has a lot of information? Like maybe
I think the present levels,
okay, yeah.
because that can, so do you read everything that they sent for each teacher? Or do you just like summarize?
I read everything. Do you want me to show you like what it would sound like if I were doing this? Like I read everything, but I kind of like, I'll skip something if it's redundant, or yeah, let me just show you what I would do, and then that might answer your question. Okay, so let's say, so I have Nevaeh's most up-to-date grades, and then comments from all of her teachers. In English, she had an 85 for quarter 1, a 73 right now in quarter 2. That brings her year to a 77. That's her average of the first 2 quarters so far. In math, she had an 81, or an 86 first quarter. She has a 54 right now in second quarter, so her average for the year is at a 71. So she's passing right now for the year. We do need to work on her second quarter grade. I have work for her to make up. She needs to continue to work hard on her homework as well. In history for quarter 1, she had a 90. For the year, she's at a 90. In science, she had an 85 quarter 1. She is at an 88 right now for quarter 2, so it's 87 for the year. So in English, Miss Rowe shared that Nevaeh works well with her seat partner. She can copy down notes, but sometimes she doesn't get to the last part of the notes. She's able to recall information. She can summarize what she's read and complete the homework every night with appropriate detail. She was a bit concerned that Nevaeh has difficulty processing complex strategies or complex concepts. For example, the fruit symbolizes prosperity, so if Esperanza squashed the fruit under her feet, what has she lost? The correct answer is wealth. Nevaeh typically cannot come up with that answer without break it down questioning from the teacher. She will struggle to put the ideas together and synthesize her answer. She might get the first part, but not the second part, and she's able to find the main idea of the text or the author's purpose, but sometimes she has a difficult time finding textual evidence to support this idea. Mr. Apiza shared that she has very strong number sense. Her classwork is organized and neat. It's easy for the teacher to follow. It's easy to grade and give feedback, and she's very well behaved in class. She always turns in complete and well done homework. She's respectful to teachers and peers, and she's very reliable and trusted helper for her teachers. He doesn't have any academic concerns or behavior concerns about her right now. However, he did share that she could push herself by participating and being more vocal in class. That would allow Mr. Pisa to do very accurate checks for understanding, because he would be getting more consistent information from her and knowing what she understands throughout the period. There are some days when she's very quiet and doesn't want to really participate. She kind of likes to fly under the radar. Mr. Sproul shared that she's really responsible, always on task. Her homework is complete and returned every day. His only concern was that she struggles with interpreting and analyzing the higher order questions. Even after a student helps her out, or maybe he provides a few break it down questions, sometimes she struggles to answer the question. And in science, Mr. Mitchell shared that she has strong active reading skills, and so she has very well written SCRs and OERs that are related to a text-based assignment. Her homework is very thorough, and she's focused during independent work. His only concern was that she struggles to understand some scientific concepts. She can be distracted in class and sometimes needs reminders to stay on task. This is the list of things that her teachers do that work really well for her. We give her sentence starters, after-school tutoring, pairing her with a strong peer, checking in with her frequently, seat her towards the front of the room, and pre-call, which just means that if they're going to call on her for number 5, they'll give her a heads up. She has time to get her answer together. Okay. So yeah, like I read everything, but I just like read it. Like I don't say or ask anything else unless there's something that that needs further qualification. So like, for example, the math grade, the fact that she has like a 54 for quarter 2 right now, like I will say whatever I'll say, but I also then like won't like give them any time to like respond to it unless they like really need to. Which like I don't think, like she's not gonna fail quarter 2. Like her mom is probably gonna be like, oh my god, like what's going on with math?
And he emailed that he hasn't put in grades, so that's another thing. Is that there's like really like one grade in there, and there's just grades when I checked it.
Right, and you can say that too. You can be like, this, you shouldn't be concerned, like they just put in the first round of grades, and like there are a couple of things, I have all the assignments, she's gonna make up the 1 or 2 things that she had a low grade on, and like everything's gonna be fine. Okay, so go for it.
Alrighty, so right now I'm going to draw your attention to Nevaeh's current grades. For English, she had an 85 last cycle. Presently, she's at a 73, which gives her an average of a 77 for the year. Math, she had for quarter 1 an 86. Quarter 2 is a 54. Don't be alarmed. There are just a couple assignments there that we need to get made up. And so that gives her an average right now for 71. History, quarter 1 was a 90. For the year, she has a 90 current. Quarter 2 grades are, he's going to be entering shortly. I emailed him already. Science, she is currently at an 88. Last quarter, she had an 85, and that gives her an average of an 87, so her grades are looking pretty strong. Here are some of the concerns that her teachers shared. So for English, Ms. Rose states that Nevaeh works well with her C partners. She is able to copy down notes, but sometimes doesn't get to the last part of notes. She can recall information, is able to summarize what she has read and complete homework every night with lots of details. So those are some of the things that she's proud of. Some of her concerns, however, is that Nevaeh has difficulty processing complex concepts. For example, the fruit symbolizes prosperity, so if Esperanza squashed the fruit under her feet, what has she lost? The correct answer is wealth, and Nevaeh will sometimes struggle to put these two together and synthesize her answer. So she might get the first part of the answer, but then not the second part. So we're going to definitely work with her on this. And she's able to find the main idea of a text or author's purpose, but struggles to find textual evidence to support this idea. So this is just some of the focus that we're going to use when working with her. For math, Mr. Pisa stated that Nevaeh has strong number sense, has neat and organized work that is easy for her teacher to follow and easy to grade and give feedback on. She's behaved well in class. She's always turning in her assignments complete and well done. She's respectful to teachers and peers and a very reliable and trusted helper for the teachers. He currently has no concerns for her academically nor behaviorally, but he would like to see her push herself to participate more in class and be more vocal, because this will allow for him, along with the students that are in the classroom, to have better understanding of what Nevaeh knows, and to give feedback to increase her quiz grades and her exit tickets. There are some days when Nevaeh is content to be quiet and do her work and kind of flatten the radar, and we want her to just vocalize more so you can get a better sense of how she's doing in the moment. In history, Mr. Sproul states Nevaeh is very reasonable and always on task. Her homework is always complete and returned the next day. However, one area of concern for him is that Nevaeh struggles with interpreting and analyzing higher order questions similar to English. We can interpret that as. Even after having a student help out or providing a few break it down questions, Nevaeh will still struggle with answering questions. In science, Mr. Mitchell says that Nevaeh has extremely strong active reading skills, which leads to well-written SERs and OERs that related to text. Her homework is completed thoroughly and she is focused during independent practice. But one area of concern is that she struggles to understand some scientific concepts and can be distracted in class and will require a couple of reminders to stay on task. Last but not least is this section here of strategies that are currently working for Nevaeh, which are sentence starters, tutoring, being paired with a strong peer, frequent check-ins, I need to delete that one twice, seating towards the front of the classroom, and then pre-calling, which again is just us calling her before we ask a question like, Nevaeh, what is da-da-da? Or Nevaeh, you're going to answer a question to be prepared.
Great. The only thing, yeah, I think that was perfect. The only thing I would adjust is I would, you could change this in the IEP too, I don't think it's a big deal, but like I usually say they're comments just because they're not all concerns. So like,
yes.
just framing around like I'm going to share some comments for her teachers.
Okay. Yeah,
Because I don't think we
yeah,
want
they're not
to frame it
concerns.
as like
Got you.
something that's,
Yeah.
like it's not negative, it's just, you know, there are concerns, but
Mm-hmm.
just don't want to like set the parents up to feel like it's negative because then
Because it is like a
sometimes
lot.
that
Oh my
has,
gosh.
like
It's a lot of
a negative impact on the affect of the meeting, which is
Gotcha.
best to be avoided when possible. And then I like to kind of adjust, like, so it's a lot of information and like some of it is good and some of it is, this is a growth area. I like to adjust my tone to reflect that, which literally just sounds like, it sounds like Ms. Rowe shared that she works well with her seat partner. She's able to copy down notes. Sometimes she doesn't get all of the notes, but she's able to recall information and she can summarize what she's read. She did note that she struggles to put the two pieces of the question or answer together, and that's an area that we will continue to work on with her. So I just like adjust my tone between the positive part and the growth area part, since you're like going back and forth so much that, and there's so much information that I want the parent to have some way of being able to follow that. Does that make sense? Okay. Do you want to do just the English part? Like we can start with like, here are the comments, and then do just the English
Yeah, sure.
with that, and then we can be done practicing.
Now I'm going to move on to some of the comments from her teachers. So the first one is from Ms. Rowe, which states that Nevaeh works well with her seat partner. She's able to copy down notes, but sometimes doesn't get to the last part of the notes. She's able to recall information, can summarize what she has read, and complete her work every night with lots of detail, which is excellent, especially in English class. So some of the concerns right now that Ms. Rowe expresses that Nevaeh has difficulty processing complex concepts. So for example, if presented with the question, the fruit symbolizes prosperity. So if Esperanza squashed the fruit under her feet, what has she lost, right? The correct answer here would be wealth. However, Nevaeh would struggle to put these two together and synthesize the correct answer. And by that we mean that she may get part of the first part of the answer correct, but not the second part. And as a result, she struggles to then develop that concept here of the answer being wealth. However, she is able to find the main idea of text or author's purpose, but then she struggles to find textual evidence to support that idea. So she'll arrive at the right answer, but then can't find the evidence that's needed to support this. So we're going to work with her on these.
Yeah, I think that was perfect.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anything else about IEPs that I can help you with?
No, I'm finally getting the hang of all of it.
It's a lot.